Finish him.
Welcome to Hitman Boxing. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's talk GGG, Gennady Ggg Golovkin. He's decided to go back to fighting bums. Gennady Golovkin insists on fighting his IBF mandatory Kamil Szeremeta, whatever his name is. He's from Poland, undefeated fighter. I believe he is, actually let me just fact check this real quick. He is 21-0 with 5 knockouts. Number one contender, or ranked number one, what was that? Number 2 by the IBF, I believe. So my thing is this. Triple G says that when everything goes back to normal, or whenever boxing begins again, and he says that he had this fight lined up before the pandemic started, he's going to fight this bum, Kamil Szeremeta. Now, as I look up and down his resume, I don't recognize anybody. Don't recognize anyone at all. Wait, Ruben Diaz? I'm just looking through his resume. His resume is garbage. It's trash. So, I'm not sure why GGG has decided to go this route. I don't think his mandatories do. So, with him being on DAZN, I feel like he has a lot of other options. We know he's chasing that Canelo fight, but at the same time, he did sign a 6-fight deal to DAZN. So again, I'm not sure why he chose to fight this bum. Or should I respect all fighters? It doesn't matter. You know how we do over here on Hitman Boxing, right? We say what's on our mind. Now, one thing that's been on my mind is the fact that Gennady Golovkin really has a padded resume. It's kind of trash if I really look at his resume, right? Because up until the Kell Brook fight, he hadn't really fought anybody. Or he tried to make it appear as if he had just blown through all these great fighters, right? And he was this huge force to be reckoned with. Now, I recall when he fought David Lemieux, he was telling us, oh, it's about to be Mexican style. It's about to be a war. Well, no, he chose to box David Lemieux. He boxed David Lemieux to a TKO because we know David Lemieux is a one-dimensional fighter. But Triple G does have a lot of facets to his game. I will give him that. Now, moving forward, David Lemieux, then he fought the gangbanger Dominic Wade, the guy who beat up his sister or something like that. It was some sort of domestic dispute he got into. That was an embarrassment. That fight was an embarrassment. He was 18-0. It doesn't matter if he was 18-0. He was supposed to fight. Dang, who was he supposed to fight instead of Dominic Wade? I forgot who the guy was. Toriano Johnson. But then Toriano Johnson ended up being a bust anyway, right? Then after Dominic Wade, we get to Kell Brook. Kell Brook, a guy who's moving up 2 weight classes to fight Triple G at 160. Now, granted, Kell Brook is a big welterweight, but 160, Triple G, I didn't see the reason for him jumping up in weight class to do that. And he paid the ultimate price. But before he got his eye socket broken by Triple G, he did expose Triple G for the fraud that he is. Now, let's keep it 100. Triple G's a fraud. He's always been a fraud, always will be a fraud. He seems to be a good guy, I don't hate his personality. I don't dislike him, He rocks Jordan brand. He's got to deal with Jordan, so shout out to him. But he's got a suspect resume, right? So he beat the living shit out of Kell Brook. I think his eye popped out of his eye socket, something like that. But then he went and fought Daniel Jacobs, right? And really, the difference between a win and a loss here in the Danny Jacobs fight was the fact that he knocked Danny Jacobs down. I thought it was a very close fight. Aside from the knockdown, and I did have Triple G winning, but if it wasn't for that knockdown, I say it could have been a tie. Some people may have said Danny Jacobs won that fight. And then things started to get a little cloudy for me. I apologize. I haven't seen the Canelo fight in a while, but the first Canelo Triple G fight that was a draw, right? And there was a lot of backlash, a lot of people who were upset at Golden Boy and Canelo's team. It's really split down the middle as to who may have won that. I have to go back and watch the fights. When I have a chance and I've got plenty of time with this pandemic, I'll go back and check out those fights, man, because I really don't remember how the first fight played out. Then, after that draw, he fought Vance Martirosyan, beat the living shit out of him. Then he fought Canelo again, and he took a loss, right? I think more people were saying that Triple G won the second fight a little bit more clearly. I have to go back and watch these fights. But then after that, you fought Steve Rolls, bum. Back to fighting bums. Steve Rolls, right? Steve Rolls, right in the middle. Canelo, Vance Martirosyan, bums, bum fighters, right? Because that's what you're known for, fighting bums. You're like a middleweight Deontay Wilder. Let's be honest. And then the very, very, very interesting fight, which would have been Triple G's last fight, which was against Sergey Deryevchenko. And that was for the vacant IBF championship, right? Now I'm thinking to myself, well, Deryevchenko's kind of, he's somebody that not a lot of these dudes are looking to fight. I believe Jacobs fought him, right? Let me look at his box track real quick. If I recall, yeah, he's got 2 losses. One is to Jacobs, and then one is to Triple G. But the Jacobs fight was a close fight. And honestly, when he fought Gennady Golovkin, I had Deryevchenko winning that fight. I hadn't beaten Triple G. I think Triple G got a gift decision. The man is 39 years old. He's going on 40. He's pushing his luck right about now. So he's biding his time. Is it a good idea for him to bide his time? I don't know. I don't think so, especially since he's going to be 40 soon. But I can guarantee you one thing, and I'm looking at this BoxRec article, not BoxRec, I apologize, this Boxing News 24 article, and they give a long list of names of fighters that Triple G could have fought instead of fighting his quote-unquote mandatory for the IBF. They're throwing around names like Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs again, Deryevchenko again, Callum Smith, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. They're throwing all those names around, but Triple G's not going to fight any of those guys. As you can see, as he's stepped up in competition, his knockout rate has dropped. He didn't knock out Danny Jacobs. He didn't knock out Canelo. Really, those were his 2 biggest step-up fights, right? Jacobs and Canelo. And then, you can kind of call Kell Brook a step-up fight because, Kell Brook was an undefeated welterweight. His name did hold weight, right? But, again, he's not a middleweight. So we can't really give him all the credit for that win. Long story short, Triple G, is he overrated? Do you think he's overrated? I think he's a tad bit overrated. He seems to have gotten his career started a little too late. Or you might argue that, hey, no one really wanted to fight him when he was knocking these dudes out, when he was looking invincible. Because he did look invincible, man. Triple G was looking invincible, but it's just the opponents. We can bring up the Willie Monroes, the Martin Murrays, the Marco Antonio Rubios. We can bring them up, man. But, at the end of the day, them dudes weren't going to beat Triple G, and they all got knocked out. Curtis Stevens, again, like I said, Triple G doesn't have the best resume. And if he attempts to fight Canelo Alvarez for a 3rd time, he might get knocked out. That's just my opinion. I think if he fights Canelo for a 3rd time, and I don't want to see a trilogy, I have no desire to see Triple G fight Canelo Alvarez again. I don't. He's going to get knocked out. And there's no way he wins on points. You don't beat Canelo on points. That just doesn't happen. Look at his resume. They even tried to steal that fight from Floyd when it happened. So, GGG, not a lot of options, right? And, Canelo really didn't seem too interested in fighting him for a 3rd time. He said there was no point in fighting Triple G for a 3rd time. There was no point. Because he felt that he beat him and he felt that he won the first fight. There was no need for a 3rd fight. I don't see the need for a 3rd fight. Triple G had an all right career. Will he go down in the Hall of Fame? Maybe. Probably. But his resume just doesn't stack up. It doesn't stack up against Canelo Alvarez. And I'm not even talking about, look, in 10 years, when we look at Canelo Alvarez's resume, we're going to be like, damn. Well, we may not be that way, but if you're on the outside looking in and you just list off the names of people on his resume, you'd be like, damn, this might have been one of the best fighters of that era. But if you start thinking about the fights and the judging and the time frame or the points at which he fought certain fighters, then things start to get a little shaky, right? But yeah, again, Triple G, over the hill, almost 40. 40's pretty old. 40's old. That's up there, man. You're going to have to start looking into Medicare at that age. Nah, I'm just messing around. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about Triple G. I mean, I'm not interested in him fighting Kamil Szeremeta. He's an undefeated fighter. That's not going to sell, though. He's not going to cause any more people to buy subscriptions to DAZN. Matter of fact, I need to get rid of my DAZN because ain't no boxing on. I need to get rid of that app, man. I don't need that trash right now. Ain't nothing on. But yeah, no one's looking for Triple G right now. I'm not looking for Triple G unless he's fighting Andrade, Charlo. And I'm not saying they beat him. I'm looking for some variety. I'm looking for you to fight a tough fighter, not some dude who's undefeated, but we ain't never heard of the guy before. This is the first time I ever heard the name. Again, rambling at this point. Hitman Boxing, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe. What should Triple G do? That's the question today. What should Triple G do? Should he fight this IBF mandatory? If it truly is his mandatory, he has no choice to do it. But after that, who would you like to see him fight? Hitman Boxing, again, I'm out.